This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Indian refiners' crude oil throughput in August dipped to its lowest in 10 months due to ongoing maintenance activities at multiple refineries, government data showed on Wednesday. Refiners processed 4.36 million barrels per day, 18.44 million tons, of crude oil last month, the lowest since October 2020 and about 4.8% lower than 4.58 million barrels of oil per day processed in July. Maintenance activities at some facilities limited production in August, Refinitiv analyst Ahsan Ul-Haq said, adding that demand was likely to resume as the festival season approaches, provided cases of COVID-19 remain low.
Oil prices rose on Thursday, supported by growing fuel demand and a draw in U.S. crude inventories as production remained hampered in the Gulf of Mexico after two hurricanes. Brent crude was up 28 cents, or 0.4%, to $76.47 a barrel at 13:36 GMT. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude rose 43 cents, or 0.6%, to $72.66 a barrel. Earlier in the session, Brent rose to $76.53 a barrel, its highest level since mid-July. Oil prices continue to thrive on the momentum of supply constraints in the U.S. Gulf of Mexico, which was reflected in the large crude inventory draws report of last week, said Rystad energy analyst Louise Dixon.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Australia and Indonesia, the world's biggest coal exporters, face an accelerated decline in global demand for their coal shipments after China said it would stop building coal-fired power plants overseas, analysts, environmental groups and industry officials said. Chinese President Xi Jinping announced the move at the United Nations General Assembly on Tuesday, prompting environmental campaigners to predict a direct impact on major coal exporters. Beijing's pledge is the latest blow for Australian and Indonesian coal miners as more energy systems globally make the shift to renewables. However, the Australian industry continues to push for a role for coal in the global power mix.
Norway's oil production beat official expectations in August, while its natural gas output lagged. Preliminary data from the Norwegian Petroleum Directorate, NPD, showed on Thursday. Crude oil output rose to 1.81 million barrels per day, BPD, in August from 1.75 million barrels of oil per day in July, above official forecast of 1.76 million, the NPD said. Natural gas production in August fell to 9.3 billion cubic meters, BCM, from 9.7 BCM a month ago, while the NPD expected it to be at 9.7 BCM. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Russia has agreed on a new formula of mineral extraction tax, MET, with Russian producers of steel, iron ore, coking coal, fertilizers and mixed ores, such as mined by Nornickel, but dropped idea of a new profit tax, officials said. Russia has dropped the idea of setting a formula-based profit tax linked to previous dividends and investments for now, Interfax news agency reported on Thursday, citing Alexander Shokin, head of the Russian Union of Industrialists and Entrepreneurs. The concept will be revised and will not be introduced at least until 2023, Interfax quoted Shokin as saying. This idea was criticized by Shokin earlier this week as potentially damaging for investment climate.
Global steel production slipped by 1.4% year-on-year in August, the first decline in more than a year, and is likely to decline further in the coming months as officials in top producer China seek to curb pollution. Crude steel output fell to 156.8 million tons in August, World Steel Association data showed on Thursday, the first decline since July 2020. Output in China tumbled by 13.2% to 83.2 million tons, the data showed.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
China's agriculture ministry lowered its sow herd inventory target for the 5-year plan just started, as the world's top pork producer aims to ensure supply and stabilize prices. In an interim plan for hog breeding capacity, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs said the target for the sow herd was now around 41 million head for 2021 to 2025 and should be no lower than 37 million head. Previous guidelines jointly issued by the Agriculture Ministry, State Planner and other authorities last month set the target at between 40 million to 43 million head.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.